The digital world moves fast, but real growth comes from real conversations. This is e-Coffee with Experts, where marketers and founders share what's actually working in SEO, AI, and digital growth. Grab your coffee and fuel your mind as we chat with top minds about their wins, struggles, and lessons you won't find in a blog post. Brought to you by Digital Web Solutions, we bring real talk to help you grow your business, one episode at a time. Let's get started.
Hey everyone, Victor here, back from the power outage in Europe. Yesterday, this is a Tuesday actually that we're recording this podcast, but yesterday, both Portugal and Spain lost its energy. So we were without internet, without anything at all whatsoever, which is strange, because sometimes you think, oh, I can live fine without internet. But can you really? Because we couldn't call anybody, we couldn't check the status of things, we couldn't even, I don't know, order water or gas. So it is kind of difficult at the end of the day. And I so much wish that I had myself a survival kit or something that in the case it got, worse. I was kind of expecting the apocalypse to start, not gonna lie. But in the eventuality of it getting worse, I would at least be already equipped with everything that I said that I needed to. So therefore, because of this, I brought to the show Joe Roman. He's the CEO of BattlBox, and BattlBox does literally deals with everything that I just said. Outdoor gear, equipment gear, everything that you need in order for your travels, your trips to the woods, to the Amazon rainforest, you got it covered. And
To
not
the
only that,
power going out.
to the power going out, yes. Everything that you need once the power goes out, you can find it over there. But not only that, we also have here with us a fellow podcaster because John also has the awesome pod which talks about e-commerce. And I'm going to link it down below in the description for you to check it out, as well as because this is a very nice guest, but as well as his own e-commerce newsletter for you to get in touch with everything e-com related at the online Queso. So let's just introduce him to ourselves here, make sure that he feels comfortable and settled down. John, thank you so much for being on the show. How are you doing today?
I'm good, Victor. Thanks for having me. I'm excited we finally got to connect.
Exactly. Especially again, after the power outage, it was
Yeah,
the only thing that
for sure today wasn't gonna happen.
yeah, but I'm glad, I'm very glad that this happened, and I'm very glad to have here on the show. The first thing that I'm gonna comment though is I was taking a look at your newsletters and I saw your latest post saying that you don't call yourself an entrepreneur right now. And I think this is a very interesting statement, especially with the things that you've written over there. But for those who don't know you yet and maybe can get, interested in learning more, what can you tell us about this latest piece that you wrote?
Yeah, so I'm quick to call out masses, just the masses in general, with groupthink. And I think the word entrepreneur, for a lot of the similar reasons you and I were chatting before about how also just CEO, the term, it's overused, it's toxic. You have so many people claiming to be it because they think it's cool, and then they give it a overall, a bad rap, right? Selling a course on selling courses, where you're ripping people off and they're giving you money and trusting, it's not an entrepreneur, right? Just
No.
like the my friend or your friend that runs the ice cream stand, that's just him, he's not a CEO, which is okay,
No.
but you just have so much blurred lines. I don't want to be associated with the word.
And that makes sense. Even to this day, I will never forget. Back in Brazil, we have this movement where people were bashing others because they were claiming themselves to be entrepreneurs head of something.
Right.
And then you look at the head, where's the body? There's no body. You
There's no
know,
body. It's
it's
just
a
that's it.
floating head. Is it though? Like really? Are you ahead if there's nobody for you to manage? I 100% get where you're coming from. And is this something that you've been feeling for a while already, especially after COVID? Or
Uh,
was it just something,
I think
from
I've always felt, not always, but in the world of the Shark Tanks, and then combined with COVID, where everyone was like, "Oh, I'm gonna start an online business." I think it started to get very toxic in front of
true?
mind at that point.
True. Well, at least now we got it covered. If you watching us want to know more about what Jones think about it, the online Kessel newsletter will be down in the description below. But alas, let us work with the episode. John, we know you right now as the CEO of BattleBox. I just introduced what BattleBox is, and I'm very much a fan of the product already, of the brand itself. But let's just take a step back and start talking about how it all came together. How did you end up at BattleBox? How was it at first? What made you take your full time into applying your brand knowledge and your marketing knowledge in an outdoor gear product market?
Sure. So we have to go back 10 years. So
Perfect.
BattlBox started in 2015, early 2015, and I was initially just an investor. I wrote a check. I was going to be on the board, very limited capacity, and just offering, advisory. We quickly realized, so I came on board a week and a half, 2 weeks after launch. So very, 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 very early. It wasn't anything like it is today. But we quickly realized, a lot of it's timing. We had lightning in a bottle, if you will. Well, you had at the time, BattlBox when we first launched was only one thing. It was a subscription box. And you had the subscription box craze of 2015, 2014, 2016, that whole
That's true.
area. And then you also had just the cool vibe of outdoor gear and survival gear was starting to get some momentum too. At the time, we also included tactical gear, which was also having momentum. And then the other secret sauce was that it didn't exist already. So I invested initially not necessarily because of my love of the gear. Being completely honest, was my love of reoccurring revenue,
Perfect.
subscription, membership. I came from software, and the wonderful thing about software was, you're selling a business the software, and they're going to pay every month or they're going to pay every year. And when you have reoccurring revenue, it's much easier to forecast. It's much easier to scale, and that was the exciting part, right? I knew, wow, with subscription, it's a lot easier to identify lifetime value.
True.
Your customer acquisition cost can be significantly higher because you're going to have them for a set amount of time. So that's what got me going. And somehow along the way, I also fell in love with the idea of just being prepared for stuff in general.
That's a nice one. And when you were thinking about it, about all the good sides, I imagine you were also maybe a little bit skeptical or scared about some of the bad sides of having a company such as BattleBox, out of investing at a company such as it. Now, let me ask you this. Were there any challenges that you still remember fondly to this day that you even used to advise people not to do the same mistakes, for example?
Yeah, so there was definitely some mistakes along the way. When I look back on the two biggest mistakes, the biggest mistake was learned luckily very, very early. So we were scaling fast. Just to kind of we went from $0 in revenue in February, and if you look at of 2015, we finished the year at 4.5 million, which is a
Wow.
considerable, pretty high direct to consumer
Yeah.
first year without like institutional investing or anything like that.
Yeah.
We did almost all of it the first year exclusively on a single channel, Facebook,
Wow. That's crazy. And
which
TikTok wasn't around by the time, right?
no,
No?
TikTok, is five years away. I mean, I guess it's 5 years away from Musically, which then would become TikTok.
Hmm.
So it was a mistake because you got to be diversified in your lead sourcing. That's from B2B, that's from direct to consumer. You can't be 100% dependent on a single
True.
platform. And we learned that the hard way. We were going into Labor Day weekend, and it was going to be our biggest weekend ever, biggest sale ever. It was going to be our biggest revenue. And Friday around 6 o'clock, our ad account got shut down, deleted, canceled, kicked off. I mean, we went
Wow.
from all of this traffic to 99% of the traffic was gone. And we were when we were offline on Facebook, it was kind of a aha moment. Wow, man,
Hmm.
we really shouldn't be dependent on a single lead source. So
Hmm.
luckily we learned it pretty early, and then from there just diversified. The other lesson was not one we learned right away. And it's just the importance of having good business partners. And a
Perfect.
single bad business partner can ruin everything. And we probably had some financial challenges in the
Okay.
early years, and it's just from having the wrong business partner.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow. And do you right now, I imagine you're still investing depending on the situation?
Absolutely.
Perfect. And do you right now have this bad partner radar, just like pinging on the time where you can easily understand if somebody, just by, I don't know, watching them work, watching them talk, you already know that they're not going to be a fit?
Yeah, for the most part. So now we invest in a couple different ways. I personally will invest, but we also have Battle Ventures, which is our fund to invest in B2B SaaS companies, and then
Perfect.
also JV projects with other operators for brands.
Hmm.
So the prereq for all of it is we're an active investor. So we are
Hmm.
involved, whether
Okay.
that's a board seat, whether that's for the software, we have to be using the product. It has to be a part of our tech stack. And for the JV brand side, we're involved. We're owning a bunch of parts of the business from fulfillment to finance. We just have to ensure we're involved. When it comes
Hmm.
to identifying bad business partners, it's not black and white. It's not super simple. We do a couple of things to kind of test it, assigning small pieces of homework without it coming across that way, just to see how people follow through, follow up, just to understand them the psyche of them as a person. But it's not science. It's not easy. Sometimes someone seems like they're going to be a great partner, and they end up not. It's not a perfect
But
model
that's
by any.
life overall, right?
It's life.
I have had a couple of girlfriends before I came to my wife, so you can't learn, you can't know this beforehand. You need some time
You
in order
normally
to
have to jump
understand.
into it. You don't find out until you're in it.
Yeah, that for sure, for sure. That's how it happens. And
Right.
even talking about your at first dependency on Facebook, I imagine this is not the case anymore. You even said so yourself, like we shouldn't depend on a single channel. So as of today, 2025, how's the mix looking for you in regards to those channels?
Yeah. So, unfortunately, and there's been ebbs and flows, but if we're talking about right now, unfortunately, our dependency on Meta, Facebook and Instagram is higher than I would like.
Okay.
It's still probably I would say probably if we're looking at top of funnel, it's probably maybe 20%, which doesn't seem like a lot, but if we're trying to be super, super diversified, it might be 30% of top of funnel one month. And to me, we've gone the extreme, right? We want to be
Mm-hmm.
fully diversified. We want lead sources everywhere. But, no one's really cracked the efficiency of meta advertising. I mean, it still it's the go-to place. They have the biggest
True.
audience. They have, constantly increasing their pricing, but no one's really come and like grabbed lion's share. There's always promising new ones on the horizon. AppLovin is making some noise right now because a
Hmm.
lot of people are testing there and seeing success. Will it be a meta? Who knows? Right. It's too early to know, but no, we are diversified. And it's funny, we went from 99% to, 25, 30, depending on the month. And that still gives me indigestion because we want to have it.
Yeah, yeah. Even I'm just gonna ask because a lot of our audience utilizes SEO to this day. So even SEO, how is it for you at BattlBox when considering the keywords that you have, more of a niche market? Is this something that you're still applying a lot of effort? Even a lot can be interpreted in several ways, but is this something that helps you at the end of the day, or is it more of a hustle to take care of?
No, SEO is big for us.
Oh, that's nice.
We're really, really, really focused on SEO from both external and internal.
Hmm.
On the external side with like the traditional backlinks, articles linking back, and then the same version flavor of that internally on backlinking other parts of the site. We're populating a large amount of articles, typically about 1,500 a month.
Okay, that's a big number. Yes.
Yeah, it's big, big number. Trying to get very as granular and niche. We're able to quickly with a decent amount of articles, we can own maybe a less popular keyword, but just have the front page, the
Hmm.
entire front page, and then just capture the vast majority of that search term. It's a big, big focus. It's also interesting as we've seen SEO, get older and develop. Now some people are very opinionated on it, but there is ways to use AI to assist you further. And then you have the craziness of like TikToks and YouTube Shorts, where now they're ranking SEO. So
That's
it's a
true.
whole different approach of us, creating videos and adding meta tags to it and adding stuff in the video so that the search engines pull it. And then you have the leading current trending thing of treating AI
Hmm.
as like the AI platforms as SEO opportunities, in addition to the traditional copy and text and video. Now you have how do you chat GPT to help people find your product? It was just getting deeper and deeper and
Yeah,
deeper.
yeah. A lot of things are evolving. Especially again, you started at BattleBox in 2015. Oh, 10 years from now, I imagine so much has changed.
So much.
Content creation, how content is perceived right away, how it's being shared. As you said, so there wasn't TikTok at first. Now everybody, actually the Gen Zs there are over there. So let me ask you this right now. Talking about even you said so yourself, YouTube Shorts and TikTok, this type of format, this type of content. Can you elaborate quickly just to give an idea of how it is the strategy right now and the impact in the customer engagement and the acquisitions in towards your subscription or even the products that you sell?
Sure. So it's really interesting. in early 2021. So in February of 2021, and arguably we thought we were behind and late to it.
Hmm.
It turned out we were still early, but when we were doing it, we were like, man, we missed this by a year talking about
Hmm.
short form video content. Luckily we were wrong and we were super, super early still. It's a big, big, big focus. So we're a little bit different in the fact that we're a brand with a full-time creator. We have secondary team members that are also creators. We have 3 full-time video editors.
Wow, that's
So
great.
we're creating at minimum 20 short form videos vertical a week to spread on across,
Different channels.
yeah, for
Yeah,
TikTok, YouTube Shorts, Instagram
yeah.
Reel. It's our top of funnel. It truly is. Our organic content
Wow.
is more of our top of funnel than anything else. And then traditional digital advertising, it's a little bit top of funnel, but for the most part, it's really mid funnel, end of funnel. People are discovering us through organic content, making maybe getting shoved through the funnel through advertising. It's interesting because TikTok is our largest channel from follower count. It's our only channel with over 1 million followers. But then YouTube, because of shorts, quickly almost caught up. But that's how people ingest content. And we're not selling to them. We're just talking about products, educational, entertaining. We're just being us,
Yeah.
and no hard sell.
Especially talking about YouTube, sharing with those that are watching us. I mentioned over on email about how one of your products reminded me of a weapon in the game, Metal Gear
Yeah,
Solid, which I'm
yeah,
very much fond of. And right now, what I usually see, taking a little bit out of your market, but still kind of similar, is, for example, lightsabers being showcased by different YouTubers who are like, hey, I just got this lightsaber from BattlBox. Let's just pretend you sell a
sure.
lightsaber. And I'm here to show you like a review of the product, but not so in a way where it's like a car review or a smartphone review where you go through each spec and you go through the size, the dimensions. No, more of like a feeling review. Is this something that you also have, like a community who's also creating such content for you, showcasing the benefits of your products?
Yeah, yeah. So there, it's funny. In the last couple of years, we've seen this shift where if you go back to 2015, part of our original go-to market strategy, we sent about 50 battle boxes out to YouTubers. And all of those reviews were
Nice.
traditional reviews, right? They're going, they're specking it out, they're explaining each item. And now we've seen this shift where that still exists. And that still has value, and some buyers are still searching for content like that. But now, we're doing influencer seeding where we're sending the product out to these creators that are making more the feel review content, and that works too. So we've created a Discord where we have about 120 content creators. They're full-time
That's
creators.
super nice.
They're not affiliated with BattlBox at all. They're not exclusive to us. They're just 120 content creators we have relationships with,
Hmm.
and we have contests in there, and it's really cool because like we can drop a new product, and does anybody want to review it and ship them out, and I think you're going to see more and more of that where businesses and brands are successful because they're able to curate a creator network because of influencer seeding and those feeling reviews. It's definitely, you can argue it's the future of selling. I don't think it replaces all selling, but it's definitely has a large sect of buyers that want to see content like that before making a decision.
That is true. I'm one of them. I search everything on YouTube before I buy, even if it's like a $10 thing on AliExpress and I'm
Well,
still in doubts.
you're gonna get some unbiased reviews if you do that, which is great. That's what you want.
Yeah,
You don't want
exactly.
you don't want to read the reviews on the product page, right? We know they don't typically put the
There are
bad
some
ones.
incentives for you to say good things in the product page.
Right.
Right. So
Exactly.
it's good to have the flat one. This reminds me, there is this huge tech YouTuber, MKBHD, Marcus Brownlee, where I think he's top one in regards to smartphones and technology. And he has this secondary channel where he reviews cars. And maybe 3 months ago, he did the Rivian review, the electrical car
Yeah.
brand called Rivian. And because they say because of that video, such a huge range of people were watching the video. Because of that, the company went bankrupt. So sometimes it is kind of how can I say? I can understand some companies being a little bit afraid of sharing their product, especially as we were talking about the entrepreneurship slash a CEO title, which can also
Right.
be a scam sometimes. We know
Yeah.
that some products are also a scam. So my question is, even to this day, especially and talking about those companies that are asking for your help, your advice, your investment, is this still a very nice formula to follow, or is there something else that such brands should follow when they're approaching brand building, where they're creating their awareness and they want to talk more about themselves? Is this a nice way for them to go, or should they also be careful about it?
I mean, I think you could argue if they need to be careful that there might be something fundamentally wrong with their product, which means
That's true.
make a better product, right? Now, with the Ravian example, I think ultimately the cars, their vehicles are supposedly good vehicles. So
They
it's
were very top tier.
yeah, and I've never been in one. I've seen them and they look cool.
Hmm.
But I think, you've got to be don't I think brands starting off, you should absolutely do it because the reality is you're not going to get that guy that has 50 million followers doing
Hmm.
your product. Because,
True.
if he gives it a scathing review, you could be in trouble. I think we've always had the most success with they used to call them micro influencers.
True.
Now, half of them are that, half of them are creators. We're not looking for celebrities, right? I think there's
Perfect.
inherent risks with that. I think there's also it's sometimes tough to get an ROI on them
That's
as well.
true.
It's more of a brand awareness play, but at a very, very, very expensive price point. So it's interesting. I'm a big believer in creators and the creator economy. I think it has potential. I think all brands when they're launching it should be part of their strategy because they're not going to hit a home run with a big name at first. Some might if you've raised money or you have the connections, but 99% of brands aren't going to be able to get in front of those people. It's going to be much smaller creators with smaller influence. So I think it is always a safe one.
It is. And if even sometimes, okay, so it's a small brand, let's just say it's rising right now. We don't get a lot of creators talking to us, or they don't want to sponsor us in their channels, or they just don't want to waste their time. So sometimes we have to go to the users, right? To
Yeah,
those small community base that you already have that are buying, especially in your case, which is you have the subscription based channel and you have the overall product D2C channel as well. So it is a mix at the end of the day, right? You have to be careful of several different, I don't know, maybe aspects of the business itself that one can go super right in the channel, but the
right.
same one can go super wrong in the same channel. So we talked about influencers, we talked about briefly about SEO, we talked about pay ads. Focus a little bit more on the community, on the battle boxers. I don't know how you call them. Do you have a name for them?
BattleBox.
Perfect. The battle
BattleBox.
boxers. Customer engagement. This is something that a lot of people, I tell my friends what my perception about it is, especially after COVID. You have a lot of needy people just wanting to receive a hug in the morning, or a well done in the afternoon, or a thank you for being our customer in the evening. So there's a lot of ways where we can make our customers know that they are important, that they are heard, that they matter to the object. How do you do it nowadays?
Sure. So part of there's the obvious that anyone can see of just us interacting with them on public social media channels.
Mm.
But with the membership. So the membership, which includes the physical box each month, that's still 80% of our business. It is the lion's
Wow.
share. Yeah, with that comes exclusive access to our active members of our community. It used to be a battleboxforum.com, which was old school traditional like Reddit style. We actually moved it over to Facebook, which is an interesting
Okay.
choice because not everyone's on Facebook. But so it's a Facebook private group. So I think we have
Nice
11,000
idea.
members in there. We have 5 moderators that are not employees, but once customers that are just active on there. And we manage it that way. And we're able to interact with the customers that way. I'd say on any given day, there's probably a dozen BattleBox employees that are in there just
Hmm.
engaging with BattleBoxers. They can tag me, they can tag anybody. And they know, tag Shay for product ideas, tag Brandon for this, tag Richard for this. We do a good job showcasing the entire team in there so they know they can engage with the right people. And I mean, there's not many brands where you can, tag the face of the brand, Brandon, and get a response from him on his phone. And same with all the other members of the team. So it's just a very personal
Hmm.
relationship when you can
That's true.
fully interact. We're still a small business at the end of the day, but it's very unusual for a small business our size where gentleman customer of ours, Scott, he sent a Facebook DM to me and Shay, who runs procurement for us, with a product idea. And we responded and we took it and we
That
put it in the
that
funnel. Like
and
it's a
that's super
very
nice.
unusual.
I would be
And they
happy
make
to
us,
see your email reaching me back, or it would
yeah,
be like, oh wow.
we're responsive, which you typically don't get that kind of responsiveness.
Mm-mm.
It's important, right? It's part of what you get when you're a BattlBox member is you get access to the community.
Perfect. Perfect. And not only that, but especially nowadays, I imagine it isn't something important to you to keep them around, to keep them
Yeah,
coming back, not canceling their subscription, making
absolutely.
sure they're looking for the newest product that you're going to be selling, making sure that something out of it comes out. Because otherwise, like, okay, I have this amazing subscription. I got this amazing knife out of you, but then I don't hear from you. I don't know who you are. I don't know your face. And then I receive, I don't know, a sponsored post about a competitor of yours who's
You're going there.
charging 25 for you are. So I'm just gonna jump ship because I don't have any relations to BattleBox. Why would I stick around at such a company that doesn't care about me?
Yeah, we want to build the relationship, and a big thing is, and it's been this way for a couple years now. We want to provide value outside of the physical product because
Perfect.
I think you nailed it. You talked about during the pandemic, but I think it just in general there's this, it's moving towards this, and it's been moving towards this. COVID definitely shot it, a little bit faster, but
Hmm.
consumers want to feel some kind of connection to a brand. Commodities probably different, right? But
Hmm.
if it's your, additional wallet share on stuff that aren't necessarily, you don't need them, it's not toilet paper or toothpaste per se, but it's like what you're spending your extra money on, you wanna form some kind of connection, right? And
That's
that's
true.
why full circle, that's why creators are having the success they're having because they're talking about a product that they like. And if I like that creator, that influencer, oh well, if he likes it, I'm going to give it a try. Yeah, it's super, super interesting times.
They are, for sure they are. Look, you just mentioned that 80% of your revenue right now comes from the subscription model that you guys have. So I imagine, again, a lot of those that are watching us will be interested to know a little bit more about how it is running nowadays. So let me ask you this. Talking about the subscription model itself and talking about, as I just said a while ago, about other companies doing the same and wanting to steal your battle boxers. How do you structure, I don't know, a highly effective retargeting funnel for a subscription product? How is that even possible nowadays? How do you make it happen?
Yeah, so, because we were first to market, it's a little bit, the reality is it's a little bit tough for anybody to
Hmm.
truly, truly compete. And that's for
That's
a
awesome.
bunch of reasons, right? So like one, no one's going to have the purchasing power that we have.
Hmm.
And be, part of the model, even though we don't showcase this by design, and talk about it a lot because we never wanted to be about this. But at a surface level, you're paying us $200 a month and you're getting $350, $400 worth of product if you went and shopped it on your own. So we're passing a big amount of the savings from that purchasing power to the consumer. But we don't
Perfect.
highlight. We talk about the other things, the community, the content. I was mentioning ways we provide value outside of the physical product. We have something called the Battle Vault. So if you're an active member and you're on our site and you click on Battle Vault, you have access to probably about 1,000 to 1,200 products that are all outdoor related centric, at the best price. You will find it online or in person. We will be better than everyone, hands down. And it's because we're not even treating it like a big profits. We're
Hmm.
treating it as hey, let's just give them the value because they're going to stay members longer, and we'll make the money over here. Let's just make this a loss leader, but let's hook them up. So you have things like that. There's probably about 30 other companies that we feature in the Battle Vault with exclusive coupons or discounts or offers that because you're a BattleBox member, we're going to give you 3 free months of this if you want it. And just
Perfect.
trying to provide the additional value.
Perfect. That's so. You see, even though I mean, I'm not gonna say that I don't have the need of a battle box, but yesterday
Yep.
showed otherwise. I'm just right now. I'm feeling like, bro, I need to be a part of it because everything you just said sounds, looks, and is so natural for you that's why you managed to create such a success out of battle box. And having a knife is so cool. Just having like
And kind of
a
cool.
jungle knife so cool.
Yeah.
It's such a nice thing to carry around. Now, John. Since we're already at the end of the episode, let me ask you more, a little bit more towards your investor side. I think
Sure.
BattleBox is pretty much clear right now, and thank you for sharing so much. It was not gonna lie, very much interested to know how it works nowadays. But talk about you specifically in Battle Ventures, if I recall correctly, right?
Mhm.
What advice are you guys giving to any real entrepreneurs who are looking to scale their business or looking for an investment? And not only that, but they're looking to make a profit or even exit the investment itself in a successful way.
Yeah, so there's a lot there to unpack. Two different pieces of advice depending on what type of business it is. If it's in the software world, so if we're investing in software as a service, we've got to use it in our own tech stack. We've got to believe in it. We've got to think that it's accomplishing something, right? It's either
Hmm.
providing the same services or more at a lesser cost, or it's some kind of new, never done before piece of tech. On that side, my advice is involve the community. Again, community, but it's not a consumer community. We're talking about thought leaders in the space, businesses where the leaders are vocal on X and LinkedIn. I think community involvement is and having a path to that is what gets you the win. It allows people to want to give it an opportunity. And then on the brand side is you've got to have a content plan. You have to have a community and content strategy. And that's not easy. At the end of the day, it's more than just the product. You have to have good product, right? You can't have a crappy product. But it used to be a good product was enough. And now you need a good product, but you need content and community because it's very competitive, right? It doesn't cost much money to pull your phone out, record a video and post it, and everyone's doing it.
Hmm.
So it's very, very, very busy. So you've got to have a good strategy to be able to stand out in the signal in all that noise.
Great to know. Great to know. Those that are watching us right now looking to start their own things, be mindful about it. Community is very much important, as we were saying across this entire episode. Let me ask you my last question and then we'll be
Okay.
over. If somebody was to go to BattleBox's website right now, they are not looking for the subscription model yet, but they want to get a product, just a single one. Which one would you recommend? Maybe your best seller, and if so, what is your best seller? Or is there something extra, a product that doesn't sell that much, but you just have a passion about it? Maybe.
So there's two that come to mind immediately. One of them is not our best seller on our website. We sell a
Mm,
lot on our website, but it's typically our best seller most months on TikTok and Amazon.
that's great.
So it's both of these are very low price point. So one's called the GTFO wrist, literally
Okay.
a little bracelet, $20, ships
Uh-huh.
140 countries. And the cool thing about it is it has two use cases. One, highly unlikely you're going to have to ever use it, but it does have a handcuff key. So, you ever in a bad situation, you have a handcuff key.
That's
But
nice.
the main thing is it's a little piece of carbide that can break glass. So you literally
Okay.
take it off and you get stuck in a car. You get
Yeah.
maybe just keep it in your car. Or you're in a situation where you need to get out of a situation, you need a GTFO. It's gonna break any sort of glass.
That's very
And then
nice.
the other product is very similar. It's called Rescue Me, but
Mm.
it's RESQME, and it's a Rescue Me vehicle escape tool, and it's $10. You keep it in your car. Very similar to the wristband that it'll break glass, except you don't have to do anything at all except press it up against glass and it'll shatter
And
it
it
immediately.
shatters.
So you just keep it, has a little clip, car, $10. You hope you never ever have to use it. But if you get in a situation, it's
It's a survival gear. It's in
survival
the
gear.
name. It's in the name of the thing itself, the survival gear. So if it happens, if down the line I need something, I'd rather have it in my car and never use it, but have it
Yes,
over
and
there
never use.
than having the need of using it and drowning with the car in the river and I'm thinking to myself, damn, I wish I had that from BattleBox.
Yeah, for $10.
That's the feeling. John, thank you so much for sharing all of this. It was amazing having you on the show. It was
This was
amazing
great.
knowing more about your company, about your success. For those that are watching us, I always invite you to check the links down the description below the like button. You're never gonna regret it. And of course, let's come back in the future to talk more about the survival gears and the need of more survivability gears as the years go by, because even yesterday people were thinking it was the start of the war. People were
Yeah,
they were concerned maybe this is the third world war coming. Maybe I
yeah,
need to restock on
very.
water, I need to restock on stuff, but you also need to restock on survival gear
Yeah.
because water is not going to save you from drowning any further, right?
No, but we sell like purification, so you can take any
Oh, that's
water
so
and apply
nice.
them.
You
Yeah.
see, that's so nice. You thought about it all. I know I said it was the last question, but where do you come up with such brilliant products overall, like with such creative products?
We have an amazing team.
That's nice.
So yeah, so several ways. One, we have an amazing team that are always they're going to conferences, they're looking online, they're scouring for cool products.
Okay.
But that's half of it. The other half are customers, our community. We make it very, very, very easy, and we reward people that do bring us products. So we have forums all over our website. We have forums in our private members only group. Bring us the products.
Nice.
Help us do better.
Yeah. Yeah. That's it. And with a nice community, it's a given already that you're always going to have good
Yeah,
products. That's it.
absolutely.
Wow. What a lesson. John, thank you. For
Victor, thanks
everyone
for having me.
else, see you next time.